Are you happy in your business? Now, I have had my share of emotional ups and downs in my 20 years of being a solo entrepreneur coach. And the patterns I've seen in myself and in my clients is that those downs are usually when I was personally feeling unfulfilled. Sometimes it was because a launch that flopped, and sometimes it was just life and had nothing to do with business. But those ups, oh boy, those are the times when I was feeling my most authentic and completely aligned to my purpose, or when I just felt like I was rocking that work-life balance. I would be thinking I could do this all day long and never feel tired. One of my loves is sharing what works for me and what has been working for my clients to achieve this very feeling, full of passion, happiness, peace, and freedom. So I decided to create a private podcast for coaches. Maybe you just want to develop better communication skills that boosts engagement, leads to better results, and makes you feel like you're actually making a difference in the lives of the people you serve. Then you're invited too. We talk about this and more in the UBU private podcast for coaches. Whether you're a mentor, a parent, or run a client-focused business, coaching skills benefit everyone and anyone who wants to communicate in a way that builds relationships. Fall in love with your life and business again. Click the link in the show notes for your invitation to join us right now. Then come back and enjoy this episode. Bottom line, we can't control stress. Stress is just going to happen. But we can control how we respond to stress. And this is why everyone should have a game plan for it. It's time to stop comparing yourself to others and plug in to what is uniquely you. Welcome to Unbox Your Personality, the podcast for coaches, parents, and mentors like you who understand that your happiness makes you more effective at what you do, bringing out the best in others. I'm Jen Higgins, personality strategist and Enneagram fluff remover. Get laser focused on who you are and who you aren't, so you're free to make the impact you were born to make. And have fun doing it. Your personality is your business, so let's get down to business. Happy summer, at least in the U.S. Now, what are your thoughts about summer? I sometimes have mixed feelings about it because on the one hand, I love that our neighborhood pool is open, but on the other hand, it is hot as heck out there. And I love that we all get a break from school, but at the same time, it kind of messes me up. My daily routine kind of goes out the window. I don't know when kids are awake, when kids aren't awake, if they're going to be here, if they're not going to be here. But this year, now that we're getting so close to getting back to that pre-pandemic normality, we actually went on vacation. And it was kind of a mashup celebration of my elder son graduating from high school, my younger son celebrating his sweet 16, and my hubby and my 25th wedding anniversary. So it was quite a long vacation, and now I'm back home. And I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of a homebody. I'm one of the introverty type 7s, so I really haven't had too much of a struggle entertaining myself this past year. But what I have noticed in the past, anytime that there is a big transition in my life, trying to restructure my days and getting back into a good routine can be really stressful, and it doesn't always bring out the best in me, if you can imagine that. And I probably sound pretty melodramatic here, but the beginning of summer is one of those things, one of those big transitions. You know, when I was homeschooling the boys, we just schooled all year round and took more frequent breaks during the year to travel or veg or whatnot. And that was one way around not having a big transition. Now, coming home from a long vacation, that's another one. I mean, we spent 10 days eating out, skipping workouts, staying up too late. And that's really hard for me to recover from. I know. These are first world problems. Quit my whining, right? And honestly, I'm really grateful that I am my own boss. I get to have the flexibility and the luxury to even do these things. But my point actually is about recognizing what causes me stress. And even though none of this doesn't even qualify as little T trauma, it still affects me in small ways that may or may not lead me to snapping at my kids. Or worse, snapping at my dog. I'm just kidding. That wasn't nice. But those are the little T trauma that it can lead to. It becomes a result because I have not reined in my reactions to stress. And oh my gosh, the guilt when I realize that this is really about me being a little selfish right now. When I'm snapping at my kids, it's because I'm not being able to deal with the stress. They're handling it just fine, apparently. But these are the moments when I have to sit down and remind myself that I have a game plan just for moments like this. And if you've been following me for a while, you might remember a challenge that I held sometime last year. I think it was in the fall. And it was called the Stop Getting Triggered Game Plan Challenge. And I walked you through the core framework, my core method, so that you could write a game plan to help you not get triggered. And what I'm thinking about doing is bringing that back onto the podcast. So all of you that are subscribing will have access to that. What do you think about that? If you wouldn't mind sending me an email or a DM on Instagram, let me know if that is something that interests you. If you remember earlier in February, I did a challenge called Communicate to Build Relationships, and it is on the podcast. And what I went ahead and did is I unlocked it. If you scroll back to February, you can get a refresher on that. But the Stop Getting Triggered Game Plan Challenge, it was a 7-day challenge. And I know how busy summer can be, so what I was thinking is that I could drip it out 1 to 2 episodes each week instead of daily. And then that way you can spend the summer, you can fit it into your busy summer. I'm sure you're trying to make up for last year's summer or non-summer. But you can go at your own pace. And what I do is I walk you through another step on how to craft your game plan. And the game plan not only helps you anticipate and avoid triggers, it also helps you get back in control when you do get triggered, because sometimes it just happens. The snap comes out of your mouth before you even realize that you were triggered. So what I can do is I can drip it out, or I can just post all 7 for the summer and give you the summer to go through it at your own pace. Or you can hop into Unboxing Your Enneagram group and get support there from me and the other members. Let me quickly go through over the things that I cover in the challenge. I cover what your truth is and the truth behind the root of your triggers, so you know what you're actually dealing with instead of what sometimes is on the surface. I cover the gap that holds you back and how do you close that gap. I also talk about being able to anticipate and sensing when you're off so that you can head off those triggers before they come to a head. I talk about establishing boundaries, and then finally about finding the motivation to take action with your game plan instead of just ignoring it or avoiding it, because those are the things that make the next trigger worse. So if this sounds like something that you would love to work through, then this challenge series is for you. So if you wouldn't mind, do me a favor and email me or DM me on Instagram at PowerCoachJen and let me know if this is something you'd like for me to publish. Or I can go back to my regularly scheduled content. I have some interviews that I can edit and post up as well. Let me know. The links are in the show notes. Because bottom line, we can't control stress. Stress is just going to happen. But we can control how we respond to stress. And this is why everyone should have a game plan for it. Because when you unbox yourself, you unleash your power. Thank you for listening, subscribing, and reviewing the Unbox Your Personality podcast. To learn more about yourself, go to PowerCoachJen.com. Find out how you are different so you can make your difference.